Okay, a few updates about using the Sound Devices MixPre-3. Had a question from a YouTuber. He asked for the exact specifications of the MX charge. I got it wrong in the last video. I said it was 9 volts, 1 amp. I wasn't wearing my glasses. I think then I put a correction in saying that it was 5 volts, 1 amp. If I look at the label, even with my glasses on, it's pretty small. It looks like it's 5 volts, 3 amps. What I'll do is I'll snap a picture of the label on the power supply and I'll insert it into this video so you can see the exact specs that are on the label of the MX charge. Now I'm going to turn this on. One of the things I did like about this unit is it has a power switch, but honestly it's kind of a pain in the neck to reach when you have the USB-C cable installed, whether that's the charger or the actual USB-C to USB-A cable. Now that YouTuber also pointed out that if you don't have enough power, the lights will blink orange. I'm not sure I've seen that. What I have seen is that if it doesn't have enough power, it puts up a pop-up on the display saying, do you want to use the battery power? Let's see if we can try that. I'll show that to you. Now I'm going to just turn this off again. I'll unplug the MX charge. Now I'm just going to take this USB-C cable, USB-C to USB-A. I'm going to plug that into, I plugged that into a multi-port USB charger and MixPre-3. Now I'm going to turn that on. All right, you'll see it flashes green, but then a pop-up menu comes up and says USB-C power is low, battery power present. Would you like to run on battery power? Now I'm just going to say no. Now there's nothing plugged into here, so we're not going to see any signal on the meters here. Now, I didn't see it flash orange. Let's try one more thing. I'll turn this off. Now I'll remove the battery pack and I'll turn it on and see what happens. There shouldn't be enough power to drive this. So the light came on, flashed green. Now it's not saying anything about the power being low. I'm not sure what that's about. Now it is showing here the power cord is showing orange on the display. Let's turn that off one more time. Go back to MX charge, turn that on again. All right, flashes green. Now you'll see here the power cord in the indicator is green, so maybe that's what he was talking about, is the indicator in the top hand corner of the screen. I don't know if you can see that too well on the video. Hold on, let me check. Right up here. So that was orange when I powered it off of the USB charger. All right, now what else can I tell you about this quickly? Just an update. This seems a little wobbly here. You'll see that it looks like it bends kind of easy. So I don't know how well that's going to hold up over time. I intend to use that USB-C port a lot, so I'm hoping that I don't have a problem with it. Now I'll just turn this off. Now another thing I can tell you is that so far I've used it to do a few videos. I've used it as a USB audio interface to my computer, and I think the preamps sound pretty nice. I've used it with a Shure Beta 87A and a Heil PR40. And the preamps are good enough to drive, especially that PR40. That's a dynamic mic and it needs a lot of preamp to get a good clean signal out of it. Now, in my previous video, I showed you this SanDisk Extreme Pro memory card that I bought, the 64 gig card. I put that in the unit, and when I turned it on, the unit just kept flashing green. It would flash green a couple times, and then it would go dark, and then flash green a few more times, and it just kept doing that. So I figured I was doing something wrong. I couldn't understand what the problem was. But then I looked on the Sound Devices website, and there was a firmware update for the unit, 1.1 firmware that was already available. And it said it fixed a problem where you'd get into a boot loop when you turned it on with a memory card in the device. Now, the way that you update the firmware is you copy the firmware file that you download from Sound Devices onto the memory card, and then you go to the system menu and you can navigate to update firmware, and it loads off the card. Now, once I did that, I didn't have any problems. It worked great. The one thing that I thought was a little ironic was that the way that you install a firmware update is by putting the firmware on a memory card. The problem that I was trying to fix was the fact that the unit wouldn't boot up with a memory card in it. So what I ended up doing was just booting up the unit and then installing the memory card after it was already booted, and uploaded the firmware that way, and that seemed to solve the problem.